What's up guys, you are watching TNB Productions and we are back with a brand new video. Please do not forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and comment down below any video ideas or anything that you would like to see on our channel, and share it with your friends as we would really appreciate it and it would greatly benefit our channel. Anyway, without any further delay, let's hop right into the video. There have been many greats in the history of this league. A few names that come to mind would obviously be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Mamba. But how many of those players that I mentioned, and others that were supposedly great, were not really that great, and were simply just overrated? This is, who are the most overrated NBA players of all time? Number 10 on my list, I have James Harden. James Harden is one of the most interesting players on this list and in the league. He is so fun to watch with his insane step-back threes, his crazy ability to draw fouls, and just his entire repertoire of moves is absolutely insane. He can score the ball in pretty much any way you can imagine, and he averaged an insane 36 points per game last season, and is no doubt one of the greatest scorers of all time. At the same time, there are just so many knocks on his game, including his defense or lack of a defense. And some people say that he's a ball hog, not to mention many other things, including his terrible efficiency and inconsistency, especially come playoff time. Still, even with all of these drawbacks, Harden is in contention for winning MVP every single year and is one of the best scorers this league has ever seen. But in terms of winning championships or just winning in general, there isn't really much to see Harden past his regular season performances. However, during the regular season, he's just something else. His career averages are just bizarre, as so far he's put up 25 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, and 6.3 assists per game, shooting 44% from the field and 36.3% from three, including 3 seasons with the OKC Thunder while he was coming off the bench. But since the departure of the big three of Russell Westbrook, KD, and James Harden in OKC, Westbrook and Harden have not seen much success in the playoffs. Of course, KD, who went to the best team in the league, has. However, Westbrook and Harden are back together on the Houston Rockets this season and are meshing much better than most people expected them to. At least for now, Harden is on this list as number 10 just because of how many drawbacks his game contains, especially come playoff time. If he can start to find some sort of success past the regular season, and if he and Westbrook can win at least one championship together, well, then he would definitely be taken off this list, as he is still one of the most electrifying players this league has ever seen, and is a surefire Hall of Famer once he retires. I just need to see more from him in regard to the playoff to take him off this list, as until then, he is slightly overrated. Moving on to number 9 on my list, I have Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce has been called many things throughout his NBA career, including gaining the infamous nickname, The Truth, and is best known for his years with the Boston Celtics' so-called dynasty, in which they only won a single championship. Wait, a dynasty? One championship? I don't think so. His career stats in 1,343 games, according to Basketball Reference, are 19.7 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, shooting 44.5% from the field. These career numbers are absolutely not bad, and you can even argue that they are Hall of Fame numbers because of some of the other players that have made the Hall of Fame undeservedly. Vlade Divac. But of course, it is not really fair to judge a player based on their career numbers, as there were years of development and aging, and stats, although helpful, do not tell the entire story. How about the fact that he was always a subpar defender, to say the least, and was never more than a one-way player, and that the Celtics were suffering with Paul Pierce as their star player before they somehow managed to miraculously get Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett forming a so-called Big Three, even though for the most part you could say that KG and Ray Allen carried Pierce. Unlike Paul Pierce, the number 8 spot on my list does not have a decent chance at the Hall of Fame. In fact, he only has a 7% chance. That is DeMar DeRozan. Everybody loves him, especially from his days playing in Canada for the Toronto Raptors. He's commonly thought to be the greatest player in the history of the franchise, meaning he would be better than players like Vince Carter, Chris Bosh, and in my opinion, the best player in the history of this franchise, Kawhi Leonard, as he's the only player in Raptors history that was able to lead his team to reach the finals, let alone win one. Anyway, back to the point. DeMar DeRozan was and is a very solid player. That is, at least in the regular season. DeRozan has career averages in the regular season of 22.2 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, and 3.6 assists per game, shooting 45.7% from the field, and is an absolute dreadful three-point shooter with a 28.3% average from three-point range. Overall, his career numbers are pretty good, but stats of course do not tell the whole story. Every time he makes the playoffs, he greatly underperforms. He has always been consistently inconsistent throughout his career, and you could say that his game is not complete. DeRozan has a game that revolves entirely around his mid-range game and his game inside the paint. He's a very explosive guard/forward and contains great athleticism. He is very good at attacking the basket, but lacks an elite ability to finish around the rim, and even with his athleticism, he isn't a great defender. In this era of basketball, with players becoming increasingly great at three-point shooting, DeRozan heavily lacks in that area of his game, and the clock is winding down for him to improve on this, as this soon-to-be 31-year-old does not have much time to turn around his reputation at the three-point line and beyond. He also lacks the ability to be the star on a team, similar to Paul Pierce. However, unlike Paul Pierce, DeRozan is simply playing in the wrong era of basketball and would excel in an era revolved more around the mid-range and attacking the basket, like Kobe's era. His game would just be a perfect fit for that kind of basketball, which we simply do not see anymore from teams today. Now don't get me wrong, I like DeRozan a lot, and I think he would be really good as a second or maybe even third option on a team, as they would not have to rely on his consistency as teams that he has been a part of throughout his career have. I believe that if only he was playing in an earlier era, all of this would have changed for the better for DeMar DeRozan's career. Number 7, Ben Simmons. Right now, Ben Simmons is still only 23 years old and has plenty of time to improve his game. Right now, Ben Simmons is playing as a very oversized point guard, meaning that he pretty much always has a mismatch because he is just way bigger than his matchup. When I think of giant point guards, of course the first person that comes to mind is none other than Magic Johnson, probably the best point guard in basketball history. Simmons currently has career averages of 16.4 points per game, 8 assists per game, and 8.3 rebounds per game, shooting 56.1% from the field. He is also a very, very good defender, averaging 1.7 steals and 0.8 blocks per game as only a 23-year-old. This man won Rookie of the Year when he was not even a rookie. But even with so much potential, Simmons has one major drawback, which is, of course, his three-point shooting. You can't really talk about Ben Simmons without talking about his abominable three-point shooting. This guy is so bad at threes, he makes Charles Barkley look dead-eye from three. Okay, maybe not dead-eye, but he's bad. Like, how are you supposed to be thought of as one of the best point guards in the league, in a league developing as it has, revolving around the three-point line, and shooting 8.7% from three? It's crazy just how bad he is from beyond the arc. Teams don't even bother to guard him from the three, and instead dare him to shoot. They don't even try. He is just that bad. And the sad part is, he really does not even seem to care about that part of his game, as he has not even slightly improved since his entering into the NBA from beyond the arc, or now that I think about it, overall. The only reason that Simmons is not higher on this list is because of just how much potential he has and how much time he has to grow. But if he really wants to get better and get himself off this list, then he definitely can, but he really needs to work on his shot especially. As the final player for part 1 on this video, I have Shawn Kemp at number 6. Shawn Kemp very well could be much higher on this list, but I decided that this is the right spot for him, as he did have a couple very good seasons with the Seattle Supersonics, which I do credit him for. Kemp was just such a freak of nature during those good seasons that he had, but overall as his career progressed, he began to lose that athleticism that he had and started to gain fat, and that translated onto the court. Overall throughout his career, he had stats of 14.6 points per game, 1.6 assists per game, and 8.4 boards per game, shooting just 48% from the field, which is not great efficiency for a center, especially somebody that was mainly paint dominant like Shawn Kemp was. The most points he averaged per game in a season was the 1998-1999 season, where he averaged 20.5 points per game, but only played in 42 games as a 29-year-old for the Cleveland Cavaliers that season. He was so gifted early in his career with freakish athleticism, but just did not care enough to keep it up and improve his game. He was just never the same player after getting traded to the Cleveland Cavs, after being upset with his deal with the Supersonics and threatening to sit out. With the Cavs, he started to suffer from many off-the-court and on-the-court problems, such as weight problems, and eventually entered rehab for cocaine and alcohol abuse, which impaired his athleticism and explosiveness. This is a sad story, considering just how much potential Kemp had. Probably a lock for the Hall of Fame if he just kept his act together off the court and cared enough about the game that many kids dream about playing professionally, which he got the chance to do at a high level, but threw it all away. Thank you guys all for watching this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and turn on all notifications so that you do not miss part 2 of this video, which will hopefully drop within the next week. And for any future content on our channel, we upload the best daily football, basketball, and soccer content on YouTube. What other channel can you say does that many sports? Anyway, until next time, it has been TNB Productions, and we are out.